On my very first day in class, I was immediately thrust into an invisible battleground of pressure. In front of me sat a dashing heartthrob, right behind me, the school's intimidating gang leader, and beside me, the dazzlingly beautiful school queen. Surrounded by such prominent figures, all I could do was sit silently, not daring to make a single sound. But then, trouble found me. Someone secretly posted a picture of my aunt online and openly mocked me. Before I could even formulate a rebuttal, the school queen, Jingmai, narrowed her eyes, her voice sharp. "Are you insane?" The gang leader, Song Lin, tapped his fingers on the desk, his tone chilling. "Tired of living?" The heartthrob Xing spoke casually, yet with undeniable power. 3 seconds to delete. Under the clear blue sky, on my first morning at school, I walked into class and immediately heard mocking laughter. "Isn't that Nian? Look at her, she looks like a drowned dog. What happened to her clothes? They look awful. This dirty? Doesn't her family own a washing machine?" I turned my head, met the triumphant gaze of Yuan and her clique, those who found pleasure in humiliating others. This morning, on my way to school, a speeding car had splashed dirty puddle water all over me, turning my clean uniform into a chaotic mess. And now, they were using it as an excuse to make fun of me. How unlucky. Why do I have to be in the same class as someone like her? Yuan and I already had a history. I once reported her to the teacher for bullying a classmate. Since then, no matter where I went, she would pick a fight, but I wasn't someone who could be easily pushed around. I retorted bluntly, "None of your business," and coldly walked past. Before I could leave, a strong hand yanked my hair back. Yuan smirked, her voice full of challenge. "Didn't see me all summer break, miss me?" Anger flared within me. I gritted my teeth. "Are you crazy?" I was about to turn around and give her a piece of my mind when the space around me suddenly fell silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on me. Yuan also froze, her hand still clutching my hair. A low voice echoed from behind, "Let go." A murmur rose among the students. I heard my classmates whisper, "He's so handsome." "Is he in our class too?" Yuan quickly withdrew her hand. I seized the opportunity to straighten up. Before my eyes, a dazzling light made me gasp. Zhao Xing, our school god. He was so beautiful he made people forget to breathe. Even the arrogant Yuan cautiously asked, "Classmate Zhao, are you in this class this semester too?" Without bothering to look at her, Xing turned to me, his voice calm yet sharp. "I apologize for splashing water on you this morning." I froze. Wait, what? It turned out the culprit was the person standing right in front of me. I recalled the scene. It had just stopped raining, the road was full of puddles. I was walking leisurely when a Cayenne sped past, splattering mud all over me. The next thing I knew, I was sprawled on the ground, soaked and pathetic. The car hadn't even stopped. And now its owner stood here, his eyes placid as if nothing significant had happened. I clenched my fists, but before I could explode, he continued, "Someone in the car needed to get to the hospital urgently at that time. I couldn't stop to apologize. I hope you understand." I looked around and saw everyone staring at me and him, waiting for what would happen next. Taking a deep breath, I tried to suppress my anger. "Haha, it's fine, really?" I lied. If it weren't for how handsome he was, if it weren't for so many eyes watching me, I would definitely punch him, ensuring he'd never forget. Xing, he nodded slightly, a casual smirk on his lips, then turned and walked towards his seat. As soon as he left, Yuan's sweet voice rang out behind me, "Classmate Zhao, don't mind her. She's just that kind of person." I didn't bother to reply, bending down to tidy my belongings, trying to ignore everything. But then another sound echoed, the scraping of a chair right in front of me. I looked up and was met with Xing's bright smile. "What a coincidence, I'm sitting right in front of you." The whispers in the class suddenly grew louder. I glanced around, met Yuan's envious eyes, then looked back at Xing. I forced out a twisted smile, silently wishing he would quickly turn around. A school heartthrob right in front of me. It wasn't that I wasn't moved, but I didn't want to become the enemy of every girl in this school. Just then my phone vibrated with a message. Quickly lowering my head to avoid Xing's gaze, I opened my phone. It was Yuan. "Come outside to talk." I sneered. Who does she think she is, ordering me around? I was about to put my phone away and pretend I hadn't seen it, but immediately another picture appeared in the chat. I instantly froze. Yuan stood leaning against the corridor wall, arms crossed, her eyes provocative. Without beating around the bush, she said, "Go ask to switch seats with me. Otherwise, I'll send this picture to the class group chat." I stared at her, my voice icy. "Where did you get this photo?" Yuan smirked. Over the summer break, I made an effort to find someone to dig up information from your old school and finally found it. Surprised, aren't you? I gritted my teeth, anger boiling so fiercely I wanted to grab her hair and give her 2 slaps. But before I could act, Yuan was quicker. She raised her fingers with their bright red nails, gently tapping my face, a mocking smile. Let's see if you still dare to look down on me. The pent-up rage inside me suddenly erupted like a volcano about to blow. Unexpectedly, a commotion erupted at the end of the corridor. I turned my head and immediately saw a familiar figure. Songlin, our school's gang leader, leisurely walking amidst his subordinates. As if by instinct, the crowd quickly parted, clearing a path. Yuan and I quickly pressed ourselves against the wall. No matter how arrogant she was, she couldn't compare to someone with such a domineering reputation in school. For me, Yuan alone was enough to make life a headache. There was no reason for me to invite more trouble with someone like Songlin. Both of us stood as silent as quails, waiting for him to pass. However, contrary to our expectations, he stopped right in front of our classroom door. "Boss, this is the class," one of his subordinates said. Songlin nodded, his indifferent eyes sweeping over Yuan and me, then strode into the classroom. Both of us looked at each other, mouths agape. Could he also be in our class? In an instant, Yuan and I simultaneously leaned closer to the doorway to peek inside. Inside, Songlin walked a short distance then abruptly stopped, speaking nonchalantly. "Where do I sit?" A subordinate immediately stepped forward and pointed to a seat. "Boss, here." I followed the direction of his finger and nearly froze on the spot. It was the seat right behind me. My whole body felt like it had turned to stone, the world spinning. An ominous premonition filled me. I spun to look at Yuan, full of hope. "You just said you'd ask the teacher to switch seats, right?" She immediately shook her head frantically. "I never said that." Entering the classroom, I felt utterly numb. The classmates who had just been chatting animatedly suddenly fell silent like a flock of chicks. Their eyes were fixed on me, filled with pity. I quietly walked to my seat, nodded lightly to my desk mate, then turned around and offered a twisted smile to the person sitting behind me, trying to keep my legs from trembling as I sat down. Suddenly, a low voice spoke. "Hey!" I immediately tensed, silently praying he wasn't calling me. But then the voice continued. "Classmate in front, have we met before?" I reluctantly turned around, facing his pensive gaze. "Oh, we live in the same neighborhood, sometimes we run into each other." That's right. I had seen Songlin once. My mom sent me to buy soy sauce at the nearby supermarket. As I shuffled past the gazebo, I inadvertently saw Songlin and his gang eating fried chicken. Startled, I accidentally dropped the bottle of soy sauce. All of them turned to look at me simultaneously. Panicked, I abandoned the soy sauce bottle rolling on the ground and ran straight home, resulting in a severe scolding from my mother. I had hoped he wouldn't remember that, but clearly he did. I tried to smile, my heart pounding, wondering if he intended to say anything more. Finally, he just said, "Oh," then fell silent. I breathed a sigh of relief and turned back to face the front. However, immediately, another voice rang out. Zhao Xinghe, another prominent figure in the class, rested his chin on his hand, asking in a deep voice, "Which neighborhood do you live in?" I was stunned. "What now?" As I hesitated, his gaze unexpectedly shifted towards the classroom door. At that moment, the entire class seemed to explode. "Ah, Du Jingmai is in our class too." Excitement mixed with surprise filled the classroom. I turned just in time to see Du Jingmai, the school queen, walk in. She smiled radiantly, gently nodded to everyone, then walked straight to me. "From now on, we'll be desk mates." I was stunned for a few seconds, then blinked, watching her settle beside me. I could clearly feel everyone's eyes in the class focusing on me, filled with myriad complex emotions. Yuan and several other girls stared so intensely they could probably drill a hole through me. I understood what they were thinking. All 3 of the school's most prominent figures were sitting around me, one in front, one behind, and one right beside me. I was surrounded. Why was fate playing such a cruel joke on me? The 3 of them remained nonchalant, seemingly unconcerned by the surrounding gazes. After all, they were used to being the center of attention. In contrast, everyone else in the class seemed unable to keep their composure. And then, everyone was once again captivated by something else. Du Jingmai slowly took out each of her study items from her bag. Curious eyes widened even more. Everything was a luxury brand. Even her notebook was Hermes. The air became so silent you could hear a pin drop. This ostentation was truly overwhelming. But for me, this was not surprising at all. because Du Jingmai suddenly turned her head, her eyes shining brightly as she looked at me and asked, "We've met before, do you remember?" Yes, I recognized her too. We had met 3 or 4 years ago, preparing for an important exam. Because I was so weak in math, my mother enrolled me in a cram school. There, I met a beautiful girl who always liked to flaunt her wealth, Du Jingmai. We used to sit at the same desk. I once asked, "Your family is so well off, why don't you hire a private tutor?" I thought a personal tutor would be more effective. Unexpectedly, she replied with full confidence, "If I had a private tutor, who would I show all these things to?" I was speechless. It turned out she wasn't there to study, but just to show off her wealth. It turned out she was that arrogant. In that class, only she and I couldn't answer the teacher's questions. We were equally incompetent. Now, 3 years later, we were desk mates again. I could only lament, fate is truly playful. Seeing that I recognized her, Jingmai chatted happily, to the point where not only our classmates but even Song Lin, who had been dozing off behind me, had to lift his head and look. Xing also glanced over. I was a bit flustered. Being noticed this much was truly a lot of pressure. The first class wasn't important. After class, I just wanted to quickly leave to avoid awkward situations. But as I stood up, my left arm was suddenly held by Xing. He looked at me and said, "To apologize for this morning, I'll walk you home." I tensed, regaining my composure. I quickly waved my hand, "No need. My house is nearby, it's just a short walk." Are you kidding me? Just talking to him had already made Su Yuan and some others uncomfortable. If they saw me get into his car, wouldn't it cause a bigger stir? Before Xing could react, my right hand was gripped tightly. This time it was Song Lin. "You don't need to go with him. We're neighbors anyway, we can walk together." I took a deep breath. What did I do wrong? It's true we live in the same neighborhood, but do we really have to walk together? The space seemed to freeze. Xing and Song Lin faced each other. I stood awkwardly in the middle while other classmates watched wide-eyed. The whole class fell silent, no one dared to speak. Suddenly, the sound of a chair scraping against the floor echoed. Jingmai stood up, looked around, then unexpectedly walked over and hugged me. Her voice was soft but firm. "Long time no see. Come with me." I froze. Was my life turning into a drama? At this moment, one of my hands was held by the Heartthrob, the other by the gang leader, and the school queen was hugging me. The whole class was silent. Su Yuan gritted her teeth in fury. I just wanted to cry. Why were they doing this? Was there something I didn't know? Could just leaving school become a battle for possession? Seeing my prolonged silence, the three of them simultaneously asked, "Who do you choose?" After a moment of hesitation, I weakly said, "Can I go home by myself?" Ultimately, I chose to go with Jingmai. As soon as I finished saying I wanted to go alone, 3 meaningful gazes stared at me, making me blurt out, "Jingmai, I'll go with you." And so, the current situation unfolded. Under the curious eyes of those around me, I followed her into the luxurious car parked at the school gate. All the way home, I kept wondering, what does Jingmai really want? Does she want to hit me, reminisce about old times, or after all these years apart, has she suddenly realized she liked me at first sight? Annoyed by these fanciful thoughts, I couldn't help but ask, "Do you have something you want to tell me?" Jingmai was silent for a moment, her face showing a hint of hesitation. I could clearly see the conflict in her eyes and couldn't help but wonder if my speculations were correct. Finally, she softly asked, "Do you know Zhao?" I breathed a sigh of relief. Oh good, her target isn't me but the Heartthrob Zhao. But then I felt interested again. The school queen and the Heartthrob? Could my dream couple be about to come true? But wait, did she see Xing's actions towards me and misunderstand that something was going on between us? Countless complicated scenarios, formed by layers of misunderstanding, suddenly flooded my mind. I quickly shook my head and explained, "No, I don't know him. It's just that his car splashed water on us this morning, so he felt apologetic and wanted to drive me home. Please don't misunderstand." After saying that, I anxiously observed Jingmai's reaction. Finally, she just sighed softly, her face full of regret. "I just wanted to ask you where Zhao Xing had bought that watch." I thought I misheard. She asked me just to inquire about a watch? "Yes, it's a limited edition." "I missed the opportunity to buy it," she replied casually. I was speechless, so I had overthought everything. She wasn't interested in Xing, she simply wanted a rare item. "Why don't you ask him directly?" I was curious. Jingmai immediately waved her hand, full of pride. "If I actively ask, wouldn't that make me seem like I'm pursuing him in everyone's eyes? There are already rumors in school that he and I are a couple. If I go and ask, wouldn't it make everyone believe it's true?" While I was still stunned, Jingmai reached out, stroked my hair, and smiled proudly. "This big sister never actively pursues anyone, even if it's just pretending." I was speechless, not knowing what else to say. The next day, when I arrived at school, I had an ominous feeling about the three peculiar individuals around me. Regaining my composure, I walked through the gate and immediately saw Xinghe approaching, flashing a charming smile. "Good morning," I swallowed. "Haha, good morning." An awkward atmosphere spread. Walking beside him, I felt all eyes on me. Xinghe seemed very keen on making conversation, but his remarks revolved around things like, "The weather's nice today, isn't it?" As a result, the atmosphere grew increasingly strained. I looked at him, suddenly feeling strangely distant. He looked familiar, but at the same time, too different. Anyway, I felt pressured walking with him. We hadn't said much, just walked side by side, yet I already received a barrage of complex stares. Finally, I reached the classroom. I dropped my bag onto my seat with the speed of a sprinter. Just as I was about to sit down, "Careful," Xinghe suddenly pulled me back. I lost my balance and bumped into him. In that moment, my only thought was, are we in an idle drama? Fortunately, I managed to control myself, not letting myself get caught in that unconscious embrace for too long. I immediately stood straight, pretending to be calm, and asked, "What's wrong?" Before he could answer, I saw a bottle of red ink in my desk drawer. It had been slightly disturbed and spilled, soaking my clothes. I swept my eyes across the classroom. I had arrived a bit early today. Only a few students were busy with their own things. Yuan's group hadn't arrived yet. Who did this? This wasn't the first time I had encountered such a situation. Once again, I became a laughingstock in front of everyone. Thinking about the picture Yuan showed me yesterday, I clearly understood that she knew the secret I desperately wanted to hide. At this moment, Songlin and Jingmai entered the classroom together. "What's going on?" Jingmai asked curiously, then stood close beside me. Seeing more and more people paying attention, I sighed, intending to cover the ink stain on my clothes. "Don't move," Xinghe's deep voice rang out. He looked at me. "Are you going to let this go?" I flinched slightly. "No, I'll deal with it later," I replied. "Why not now?" he pressed. Was I seeing things, or did he seem angry? I blinked, confused. I wasn't angry at all. Why was he like this? Because this time I didn't want to bother with them. Moreover, there were too many people watching now. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. I shrunk my neck. "Are you planning something bad?" Songlin interjected. Though he didn't fully understand the situation, his gangster instincts had sniffed something out. But Xinghe completely ignored him, continuing to look at me. "What are you going to do?" "In my opinion, you should report them to the homeroom teacher so she can handle them." His words were so idealized, I just gave a bitter laugh after hearing them. "It's useless. I don't even know who the culprit is. They'll definitely find a way to deny it." I picked up the red ink bottle, about to say something, when Xinghe suddenly grabbed my wrist. "So, what if someone finds out who did this?" he said slowly. I was stunned. "What do you mean? You want me to spill ink on them too?" "If I do that, won't I be just like them?" I unconsciously gripped the hem of my shirt. Clearly, this was a meticulously planned scheme by Yuan after she got that picture. I could guess many of her intentions, but this trick was truly beyond my expectations. I couldn't understand this logic. I narrowed my eyes at Xinghe, waiting for an explanation. But before he could speak, Jingmai burst into the conversation like a strong gust of wind. "So, someone dared to bully Nian. She must have been listening for a long time, but only now chose to speak up." I glanced at Xinghe, seeing that he didn't seem to intend to explain further, so I summarized everything for Jingmai. After hearing it, she immediately slammed the table with a bang. I flinched, quickly pulling her hand back. "Don't get agitated. Calm down." Songlin, who had been silently observing the whole time, suddenly spoke coldly. "Dare to pull this stunt in front of me? Must be tired of living." "Exactly." Jingmai gritted her teeth in indignation, her eyes burning with anger. "This is outrageous. Someone must be held accountable." I secretly sighed. These two were so enraged they might set the classroom on fire. I was about to mediate when Xinghe unexpectedly patted Jingmai's hand, praising her. "Well done. You are generous, brave, and passionate. You are the embodiment of justice." Jingmai paused, her eyes wide, but then she quickly laughed proudly. "Oh, in that case, let's splash red ink on you." "Me, Songlin, do Jingmai?" Xinghe's plan was quickly put into action. He explained, "The teacher won't care if no one gets hurt, so we need to make things a little more serious. This red ink would be best spilled on you," he said to Jingmai. She was stunned. "Then why me?" Xinghe looked at me and replied casually, "Because if it happens to her, it's an accident, but if it happens to you, it's intentional." I suddenly understood. If I were the victim, Yuan could deny it vehemently, saying I just accidentally dropped the ink. But if Jingmai was harmed, things would be different. She had many supporters, they certainly wouldn't let it slide. Right, Jingmai hesitated. Generous, brave, warm-hearted, Xing gently prompted. Jingmai swallowed. The embodiment of justice, he continued. She sighed. Jingmai looked at us, her eyes like a warrior preparing for battle. Let's go, she cried. During recess, Jingmai intentionally went outside. When she returned, the classroom was packed. As soon as she sat down, she screamed, "Ah, who spilled red ink on my chair?" The entire class immediately turned their eyes towards her. Cry, Xing whispered. Jingmai blinked, then immediately pursed her lips and burst into sobbing. Someone bullied me. It must be because they're jealous of my beauty and want to make me ugly. Her voice echoed, stirring the entire class, especially the boys who always admired her. The classroom immediately descended into chaos. Whispers broke out. Who did this? Last night I saw Su Yuan here. All eyes immediately turned to Su Yuan. She turned pale. I didn't. She frantically waved her hands, trying to deny any involvement. Jingmai wiped her tears, speaking coldly. Someone saw you, yet you still deny it. It's clear you're jealous of me. The atmosphere was tense. Just then the teacher walked in. What's all this commotion about? Without anyone needing to explain, the entire class collectively accused Su Yuan. Her face was white as a sheet, but she still gritted her teeth, refusing to admit guilt. Xinghe smirked. We can check the surveillance cameras. Everyone froze, then as if awakening. That's right, there are surveillance cameras. Su Yuan stood rooted to the spot. She knew that if they checked the cameras, not only would Jingmai's incident be exposed, but also the time she spilled ink on my chair would be revealed. As a result, she was forced to bow her head and admit guilt. Her parents were called to apologize. Before leaving, she glared at me, hissing in a low voice, "Just you wait." I gave a faint smile. Wait, then. After this incident, I felt closer to those three powerful individuals. I thanked them profusely after school, but they just waved their hands as if it were no big deal. Just a minor thing, they said. Our class lost the entire first period due to this incident. When the second period, math, began, I sighed in despair. Math was my nightmare. I tried to listen, but it was like water off a duck's back. Beside me, Jingmai also sighed dramatically. That last question was so hard. I immediately nodded. Yeah, I don't understand anything. She turned to look at me, her eyes as if she had found a kindred spirit. Two fools sitting together, fate unchanged. Just then Xing, at the desk in front, looked back. Which question is hard, I'll show you. Immediately after, Song Lin also patted my shoulder. I can teach you guys too. I was surprised by their sudden enthusiasm. But then, as they both started to instruct me, I suddenly realized they weren't just teaching us. They were competing with each other. From formulas to solutions, from simplification to the fastest method, they argued passionately like two warriors. As for Jingmai and me, we just quietly huddled together. Whatever, as long as someone teaches us. Do you understand? She softly asked. I don't, I replied casually. The back and forth between the two suddenly stopped. They turned, noticed our conversation, and immediately set aside their arguments. Without asking for our opinion, they decided to play rock, paper, scissors to determine the order, then each took responsibility for explaining to one of us. Now, they had to make sure we understood everything. Xinghe frowned, asking, Do you have any questions? As soon as he finished, he and Song Lin both stared at us. I hesitated slightly, frowning in thought. Beside me, Jingmai decisively raised her hand. Do you need data or formulas? Song Lin asked. Do you want to understand the method or the theory? Xing continued. Ah! Jingmai seemed flustered under everyone's expectant gaze. She suddenly turned to Song Lin, her voice full of suspicion. Aren't you supposed to be a troublemaker, bullying classmates? How are you so good at math? The space fell into a strange silence. I could clearly see the surprise in their eyes. Silently lowering my head, I couldn't deny that it was also the question I wanted to ask. Today's class ended in an atmosphere that was both harmonious and perplexing. Throughout that time, I felt Su Yuan's resentful gaze more than once, but with so many prominent figures around, she didn't dare to do anything. Then, dismissal time arrived. To my surprise, yesterday's situation repeated itself today. Can I take you home today? Xing asked. Why not me? Song Lin immediately interjected. Around us, classmates gathered, whispering, eagerly waiting to see which of the two I would choose. As for Su Yuan, needless to say, she looked like she was about to grind her teeth to dust. In that moment, a strange thought crossed my mind. I was like an ancient emperor, having to flip a card each night to choose who would serve him tonight. No, that's not right. We were simply leaving school together. Today, I chose to go with the school gang leader, Songlin. The reason was simple. Yesterday, I refused him. If I refused again today, I feared he wouldn't hesitate to punch me. As I left class, I caught Xinghe's displeased expression. I really wanted to rush over and ask why he was so persistent in wanting to take me home. Was it because he lost a game and was being punished? But before I could open my mouth, Songlin quickly pulled me away. We walked side by side on the way home, the atmosphere awkwardly silent. As I pondered how to start a conversation, Songlin suddenly spoke. Do you know Zhao Xing? Ah, I froze. This question sounded familiar. An ominous feeling flashed through my mind. Could it be that Songlin wasn't trying to get close to me but to Xing? I immediately thought of the scene today, where the two of them were lecturing us. Could it be that on the surface they were arguing, but in reality they were in love and arguing just to get attention? A strange emotion welled up in my heart. But then I remembered how I had misunderstood Jingmai yesterday, so I tried to control my speculation. No, we don't know each other at all. I calmly shook my head. Songlin looked at me thoughtfully for a moment, then said, Then why does he keep clinging to you? I thought to myself, that's what I want to know too. So I honestly replied, I don't know either. I was afraid he'd think I was lying, so I emphasized it with a resolute tone. Unexpectedly, Songlin nodded, his face as if he had understood something. I know why. Huh. I immediately turned to look at him, full of curiosity. Don't tell me he discovered some earth-shattering secret. Songlin slowly said, because he likes Du Jingmai. Oh, so that's it. I almost misunderstood. I felt my face flush slightly. But then a spark of excitement quickly ignited within me. The gang leader and the school queen? This ship seems interesting. But this wasn't over yet. Songlin looked at me, his expression more serious than ever. If one day Zhao Xing also comes to you asking for help to pursue Du Jingmai, whose side will you be on? Immersed in the joy of shipping, I didn't even think before replying. Of course, I'll help you. Hearing that, he nodded with satisfaction. Indeed, good neighbors should help each other. I modestly waved my hand, but in my heart I thought, no matter what, I wouldn't dare to refuse him. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'll get a beating tomorrow. However, Songlin continued to ask, with a meaningful expression, what if he uses his looks to charm you? This question made me involuntarily think seriously. It couldn't be denied that Xinghe's looks were indeed a weapon that could take someone's life. If he truly made a move, I feared even I would find it hard to resist. Thinking of this, I looked up and met Songlin's dangerous gaze. Survival instinct kicked in. I immediately declared, I like girls. This matter was considered settled. Songlin and I reached an agreement. I would only help him find out Jingmai's preferences, and other matters were off limits. However, he seemed to misunderstand something and immediately retorted angrily, What kind of person do you think I am? I quickly laughed to smooth things over, swallowing the words, not a good person. But anyway, this agreement benefited me. Songlin promised to protect me. That meant I could go to school easily, without worrying about someone causing trouble for me anymore. However, the next morning, as soon as I entered the classroom, I was stopped. Yuan and her friends surrounded me in the corner of the classroom. Her voice was provocative. You really don't know your place. Do you think having a good relationship with Songlin means you can do whatever you want? But I wonder if he'd find you disgusting when he sees you like this. Her gaze swept over me obscenely, immediately infuriating me. What the hell are you talking about? Yuan sneered, her eyes mocking. Haven't you reached that point yet? I clenched my fists, glaring at her. Say one more word of nonsense, just try. She shrugged, slowly raised her hand, her voice full of provocation. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but you're on Songlin's side, so aren't you just like him, doing those disgusting things? I laughed disdainfully. Does she think everyone is like her? In her eyes, this world is only full of evil. But I had no interest in arguing with someone like that. Disgusted, I picked up my bag, intending to leave, but she reached out and blocked me. Don't think that just because Songlin has your back, I won't dare to touch you. I know everything that happened at your old school. If you don't want it to repeat, you'd best know your place and listen. Her words suddenly stopped. I turned my head and saw Xinghe standing right behind us. What? He asked, a slight smile on his lips, but his eyes were chillingly cold. Yuan immediately fell silent, her face drained of color. Xing took a step forward, the group in front of us instinctively recoiled. He glanced at them, then took my hand. Let's go. Xing pulled me to my seat. Only when I was fully seated did he let go of my hand. Are you okay? His voice was gentle but carried a hint of seriousness. I nodded, sincerely saying, Thank you for helping. I'm truly grateful to him. but more than gratitude, I wanted to know how much he had heard. Was he curious to delve deeper? Because I absolutely didn't want anyone to know about my past. Fortunately, he didn't ask anything further, just smiled gently. It's nothing. All day long, I couldn't concentrate. Memories of my old school kept invading my mind, making me fearful. If those things repeated, what would I do? Jingmai noticed my unusual behavior. She walked over and softly asked, "What's wrong?" I sighed lightly. "Just thinking about some things." She didn't ask anything else, just nodded, then took a piece of chocolate from her bag and offered it to me. "Do you want some?" I stared at her. Whether intentional or not, this gesture from Jingmai still made me feel warm. Although I wasn't in the mood to eat, I still smiled and shook my head. "I don't want to eat, but thank you." Jingmai walked closer and softly said, "It's delicious, try it." With that, she deftly unwrapped a piece of chocolate and placed it in my mouth. The surrounding space suddenly fell silent. I inadvertently glanced around and met the focused gazes of everyone in the class, including Xing and Songlin. For some reason, a vague sense of guilt welled up in my heart. Under their scrutinizing eyes, all I could do was obediently open my mouth and eat. "Delicious!" I nibbled the candy, forcing a smile. Only then did they quietly turn away. Thanks to Jingmai's presence, my gloomy mood also faded somewhat. She generously shared chocolate with those around her. Songlin and Xing also received their portions. The story continued naturally until dismissal. Xing spoke first. "Today's my turn, isn't it?" I was startled for a moment, then understood his meaning. Today was his turn to take me home. Sitting in the Cayenne, swiftly gliding down the wet road, I vaguely looked out the window. Before getting in the car, I had caught Su Yuan's cold gaze. She stood on the roadside, glaring at me with full fury, but I decided to ignore her. Before, I had always been the type of person who just wanted to hide and live peacefully, unnoticed by anyone. But now, just because of these three, I had unwillingly become the center of attention in school. But who could understand that I just wanted to go back to those peaceful days? Lost in thought, Xing's voice suddenly echoed beside me. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to splash water on you that day. At that time, I encountered a pregnant woman in labor on the road. We rushed her to the hospital, which is why I accidentally splashed water on you. I'm truly sorry." I was startled and turned to see him looking at me with sincerity, his face slightly flushed. I quickly waved my hand. It's okay. But in my heart, a doubt flickered. If this was purely an apology, why did he wait until now and choose to tell me privately like this? Is it, as Song Lin said, that he likes Jingmai and is approaching me just to find out about her? Thinking of this, I made up my mind. If that was the case, I would definitely not reveal a single word about Jingmai to him. A promise made to Song Lin, I would definitely keep. If I betrayed him, it would be no different than being two-faced. While I was trying to reassure myself, I suddenly saw Xing smile, his eyes seemingly hiding something I couldn't grasp. "You know," he slowly said, "I've actually noticed you for a long time. You're really good." Those words stunned me. Wait, isn't this exactly how Song Lin warned me, using looks and compliments to sway me? But the problem was, my heart was beating very fast. I felt like I was truly falling into a trap. I quickly pinched my arm hard to stay sober, trying to tell myself not to waver. If I wasn't wrong, next he would try to win my favor and then find a way to extract information about Jingmai. Haha, this trick I know too well. Recalling the conversation with Song Lin, I cleared my throat, pretending to be indifferent, and said, "It's useless, I don't like boys. HMPH, no matter how charming you are, it's useless to me." However, Xing reacted unexpectedly. He stared at me, his expression slightly complex, as if deep in thought. I frowned. Hadn't I made myself clear enough? "In short, I won't reveal anything about Du Jingmai to you." I firmly added one more time, hoping he would give up. However, after a moment of contemplation, he suddenly asked again, "Wait, you said you don't like boys, and you don't want to tell me about Du Jingmai. Do you mean you like her?" Before I could react, the car suddenly stopped. Looking outside, I realized we had arrived at the entrance of my residential complex, but my mind was still reeling from his words. He completely misunderstood. I was torn, wondering whether to explain when Xing's voice rang out again, this time with an unbelievable seriousness. "I don't agree." I looked at him blankly. He looked straight at me, his eyes full of certainty. "Change who you like." Before I could react, he continued, his tone calm but containing an undeniable dominance. "Choose me." How does it feel to be confessed to by the school heartthrob? Answer: thanks for asking. The wind is strong today, you're already confused. After Xing's words, I was stunned. The first thought that flashed in my mind was, is he joking with me? Then the second thought, perhaps not. Perhaps he just misunderstood me and I also misunderstood him. So did he really mean it? No matter how I thought about it, I still found it illogical. Zhao Xing, the school heartthrob, likes me. My mind was a tangled mess. I didn't know how to react. Seeing my confusion, he just lightly coughed, his tone casual. It's late today, go home and rest early. The way he spoke was as if nothing had happened. This made me wonder, am I overthinking? Okay. I pretended nothing was wrong, opened the car door and stepped out. But just as I was about to turn away, a hand suddenly reached out from the car window, gently holding my wrist. At least tonight, don't think about anyone else. On the way home, my heart was still pounding. Those words were like a spell, making me retrace them in my mind dreamily. But what was I to do? Someone who had never loved, never been confessed to, was now in this situation. I lay sprawled on the sofa, wriggling endlessly. My mother walked past, glancing at me. What's wrong, hemorrhoids? I was too lazy to argue with her, just turned on my phone to distract myself. WeChat had a series of unread messages. Scrolling through, I immediately saw Su Yuan's name. That's right, she had long coveted Xing. Seeing me get into his car today, she must be furious. I opened the messages, ready to deal with her. Patience had never been my style. There were 2 messages. You're really something. Clinging to that thug Song Lin, and now you want to seduce Zhao Xing too? Don't you look at yourself, are you worthy? But go ahead and have fun. I don't know if they'll still like you tomorrow when they see you. An event. I raised an eyebrow. Was something about to happen? Without thinking much, I just coldly typed, whether I'm worthy or not is none of your business to judge. Then I exited the conversation and opened the class group chat. The homeroom teacher had just sent a new notification. Tomorrow the school is holding a campus civilization day. Leaders will be inspecting. All students are required to wear uniforms. Upon receiving this message, please confirm. I breathed a sigh of relief. Our school uniform was quite nice. Boys wore shirts and pants, girls wore shirts and skirts, but I couldn't wear it. The next morning, I still wore long pants as usual. This year's Campus Civilization Day was held on the school playground. All students had to line up by class. Because this was an occasion to showcase order and discipline, the teachers specifically emphasized the uniform rules. Yet, among the girls' lines, I was the only one out of uniform, standing out conspicuously. The principal quickly noticed and called me up, asking, "Why aren't you wearing your uniform?" The homeroom teacher also frowned. Under the gaze of the entire class, I bit my lip, feeling a bit ashamed but still firmly said, "I apologize, teacher. I cannot wear a skirt, but I don't want to explain the reason at this time. Please allow me to participate in the event first. Afterwards, I will accept any form of discipline." As soon as the words left my mouth, the crowd suddenly burst into laughter. I turned my head, met Su Yuan's mocking gaze. She crossed her arms, a contemptuous smile. "The whole school is in uniform, only you are different. If you refuse to wear it, at least give people a reason, right?" I quietly looked at her, a feeling of disgust rising in my heart. Previously, I had accidentally caught her and her friends dragging a frail girl into the restroom, forcing her to drink water from the toilet. Unable to ignore it, I immediately reported it to the homeroom teacher. Afterwards, both sets of parents were summoned, but I didn't know the outcome, only that the girl had transferred schools. Since then, Su Yuan had always hated me, constantly trying to suppress me, but I wasn't the type to be easily bullied. I had thought that after a semester, the 2 of us would no longer be involved with each other. Unexpectedly, she still held a grudge until now, even using this opportunity to continue causing me trouble. From the very first day, she had used a picture to threaten me, then continuously tried to isolate me, turning me into a laughingstock. But I wasn't afraid, because I knew that the more I retreated, the more she would advance. I had only one choice: to face it. Su Yuan's words quickly garnered support from a few people around her. "That's right, you should also give an explanation." Under her instigation, quite a few people began to whisper. Su Yuan triumphantly said loudly, "Look, the whole class wants to know the reason, Nian Duong, tell us." She looked at me with a challenging gaze. I was about to speak, but someone else spoke first. "There are too many people here. You cannot force others to reveal their private matters just for your curiosity. Classmate Nian not wearing her uniform is her fault, and she is ready to take responsibility. More importantly, how does this affect anyone? What about you? With just one sentence, what right do you have to force others to expose their secrets?" Amidst the murmurs, Xinghe's calm voice rang out. "Exactly," Song Lin agreed. "Isn't this bullying?" Jingmai also spoke up. These words silenced the entire crowd. Even Su Yuan was slightly stunned, her eyes full of fury as she looked at me. I just found it amusing. She acted tough, but in reality, she only dared to bully the weak. Finally, the homeroom teacher decided to let me return to the classroom alone. Sitting quietly by the window, I looked out at the distant playground, a sense of emptiness suddenly rising in my heart. It seemed that since 7th grade, I hadn't participated in such group activities anymore. Most events took place in summer or autumn, when uniforms were required to be skirts or shorts, and since 7th grade, I hadn't been able to wear those things anymore. I was staring blankly at the playground when a voice suddenly spoke from behind. "What are you doing?" Surprised, I turned around and saw Xinghe walking into the classroom. "Hey, why are you?" I was about to ask why he was here, but when I saw his appearance, I immediately froze. His uniform shirt had one sleeve missing, exposing his bare left shoulder. I was stunned and confused. What happened? Did he get into a fight with someone? Was his shirt torn? But before I could ask, Jingmai and Songlin also entered one after another. I looked at them blankly. Jingmai wore wide shorts that almost covered half her calves, looking as relaxed as a breeze. The waistband was temporarily tied with a thin strip of fabric to prevent it from slipping. Songlin behind her wore a low-cut dress, revealing his long legs and casually exposed leg hair. I honestly had no words to describe this eye-catching scene. Because our clothes didn't meet the requirements, we also decided not to participate in the event. Xing smiled, looking at me. I was stunned. A warmth immediately spread through my heart. Clearly, they had done this intentionally for me. "You guys!" I opened my mouth to say thank you, but in the end, no words came out. They didn't ask me for the reason, they simply trusted and stood by me. The emotions in my heart at this moment couldn't be simply summarized as thank you. Seeing me like that, Jingmai stepped forward and wrapped her arms around me. "My dear friend, this poor little girl is so touched, aren't you? If you want to cry, just cry." At first, I really did feel a bit like crying, but hearing her words, I burst out laughing. "Pache. Big sister, your outfit is truly too flashy," I said with a laugh. The classroom, which had only had me, now had 4 people. Because Jingmai and Songlin's outfits were too strange, I suggested they go change first. The 2 of them went into the men's and women's restrooms respectively. Xinghe and I stood outside waiting. Thinking about what he said to me last night, my heart suddenly pounded erratically, but neither of us brought it up again. After Jingmai finished changing, I was about to go outside when she suddenly pulled my hand, her face hesitant. "Walk with me tonight? I have something I want to tell you." I was stunned. As if I guessed what was about to happen, I nodded slightly in agreement. But as I turned around, my eyes unintentionally fell upon her wrist. A limited edition watch sparkled on Jingmai's wrist. "Xing's watch? Wait, why is this watch on your hand?" I asked, surprised. She raised her hand, proudly showing it off to me. "This is payment. Doesn't it look good?" "Payment for what?" I was even more confused. "It's payment for Song Lin and me switching outfits," she replied casually. I was speechless. Jingmai suddenly teased me with a meaningful look. "I found out, Zhao Xingyi seems to care about you a lot." I glared at her, my face flushing slightly. Classmates slowly returned to the classroom after the event ended. When I inadvertently looked up, my gaze met Su Yuan's. She curled her lip, giving me a mocking smile. Today was the day of the event, and it also coincided with Friday. The school had no official classes after the activity, so we could leave early. Before leaving, Su Yuan sent me a message. "You got lucky this time. Next time you won't." I ignored it. The worst she could do was publicize that picture, wasn't it? I wasn't afraid before, and I'm even less afraid now. After getting into the car with Jingmai, I curiously asked, "What is it?" She suddenly gripped my hand, her face excited. I like Song Lin." "What? Tell me more clearly." I was immediately excited too. Jingmai hesitated for a moment, then unexpectedly covered her face shyly and said, "It's like this. Today when we switched uniforms, Song Lin went into the restroom to change his pants. Then Xinghe brought his clothes out to me. When I finished changing, I gave the dress back to Xinghe and he handed it to Song Lin." I nodded. "And then?" "Then, because his pants were too wide, I couldn't wear them properly and had to hold them tight with my hands. But when Songlin came out and saw me like that, he didn't say a word. He just grabbed Xing's sleeve, tore a piece off, and gave it to me." I hummed. "So?" Jingmai leaned closer to me, her eyes wide, asking, "Don't you think that act was super cool? Super suave?" I just wanted to ask one question. Had she thought about Xinghe's feelings? But Jingmai continued, her eyes sparkling. "Songlin is so subtle and so thoughtful. A strong, masculine guy. When he tore off his sleeve to help me, my heart went thump. Do you understand? That's the feeling of being moved. Seeing her so incredibly excited, I quickly supported her, afraid she would roll off the seat. Calm down, I said. She took 2 deep breaths, then leaned down, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. I came to you today because I thought you two are neighbors and know each other. What does he like? Can you help me? Big sister, my happiness depends on you. Please tell me everything about Song Lin. I looked at her for a moment, then uncertainly asked, You mean you're going to pursue him? She immediately clapped her thigh, her voice enthusiastic. Of course. Such a good man, if I don't make a move now, someone else will definitely snatch him away. Oh, clearly 3 days ago, at this very time, in this very place, she had declared with full confidence, this big sister absolutely never actively pursues anyone. Recalling those words, I could only silently swallow. She waved her hand casually. Hey, love comes like a tornado. Do you know that once you're caught in it, you can't control it? So she suddenly grabbed my hand, her eyes teary. You absolutely must help me. I nodded lightly and said, Tomorrow is Saturday. Go shopping with me, okay? Shopping? She widened her eyes. Shopping for what? I just smiled mysteriously. You'll know then. After getting out of the car, I immediately opened WeChat and messaged Songlin, 10 a.m. tomorrow, Gate A, Shopping Mall 20. He replied immediately, What trick are you up to now? I typed quickly, You'll know when you get there. After thinking for a moment, I still felt uneasy, so I sent another message. Remember to be on time, dress handsomely. Wear a light blue shirt, okay? Oh, and milk tea, only 30% sweet. Songlin instantly replied, What the hell? Not bothering with him anymore, I was about to turn off my phone when Xingha's message appeared. Are you free this weekend? I was a bit flustered. Xingha's message made me uneasy. It seems his previous confession to me wasn't just idle talk. But what should I do? How should I reply? Carrying these concerns, I opened Jihu and typed, What to do if a school heartthrob confesses to you? I scrolled through the most liked answers, intending to find some experience. Among them, one answer caught my eye. The important thing isn't whether you agree or not, but whether you yourself like that person. I couldn't help but ponder, do I like Xiaoxing? Just mentioning him, my heart involuntarily beat faster. When I saw him, my cheeks flushed. I think I really do like him, especially after the last incident. My feelings for him are even more intense. But at the same time, I also clearly understood the hesitation in my heart. First, it's only been 4 days since school started. How could he like me that much? Second, he doesn't know my secret. If one day he knows, will he still like me as much as he does now? After thinking for a very long time, I finally messaged back, This weekend I'm visiting relatives for 2 days. Sorry. The next day, after finishing my homework, I stayed home playing games. At noon, my mother asked what delicious food I wanted to eat to nourish myself, so I ran into the kitchen to help her. While peeling garlic, my phone suddenly rang continuously. I wiped my hands with a tissue and opened my phone. Jingmai, my good sister, success, I have a boyfriend now, thank you so much. I exited and opened another chat box. Songlin, we're officially a couple. As expected, the neighbors really did have a connection. Messages kept pouring in, detailing everything from how the two of them met, where they ate, to who confessed first. All details were reported meticulously. Honestly, seeing the two of them happily sharing their joy, I only had one feeling. I was stuffed with dog food, almost choking. A bit uncomfortable. From the kitchen, my mother yelled, Nian, focus on what you're doing, don't play with your phone anymore. Notification sounds continued to ring. Too annoying, I blocked both of them. After peeling the garlic, my mother told me to buy soy sauce. Soy sauce again? I frowned. Can't we stock up? Every time we stir-fry vegetables, we run out. My mother held a spoon, her tone serious. It's precisely because you stay home playing games and watching TV all day that I make you go out and move around for your health. All right, knowing I couldn't win the argument, I obediently put on my slippers and went out. Carrying the bottle of soy sauce, I was about to head home when I inadvertently glanced to the side. My steps suddenly froze. Xinghe stood right downstairs, his eyes quietly fixed on me. Visiting relatives, huh? He slowly said. What if the lie was exposed right here, and the one exposing it was the person I secretly liked? With greasy hair and slippers on my feet, I suddenly felt so ashamed I wanted to find a crack in the ground and crawl into it. I forced a laugh, trying to find an excuse, but he took a step forward, the distance between us significantly narrowing. My heart pounded. He stared at me, his gaze calm but deep. I know what you're concerned about. I'm here for no other reason than to tell you that I like you. No matter what you look like, I still like you. Actually, we met a very long time ago, and I've liked you for a very, very long time. Don't worry, take your time to get to know and like me. I was stunned. Chuckled softly when he saw me still standing there blankly. I'm very happy to see you today. I'll go first. See you on Monday. With that, he turned and walked away. I was truly mesmerized. It wasn't until his silhouette gradually disappeared around the corner that I finally came back to my senses. Just then, from behind the building across the street, another figure appeared. It was Song Lin. He walked closer, smirked, and clicked his tongue, tusk, tusk, tusk. I felt a slight jolt. Did he just witness the whole thing? Before I could speak, Song Lin laughed and said, "Agree, you two can be together." I was annoyed. Agree to what? He didn't bother to be serious. Little sister, be a bit more understanding. I think that kid isn't bad. If you can, just try to be with each other. Not wanting to continue this topic, I changed the subject. How was your date today? Of course. He immediately got excited and started telling me. But halfway through, he suddenly paused, frowning. Hey, why did you block me? I sighed. Too lazy to reply, I just waved my hand and left. Back home, I diligently helped my mother cook for an hour. Finally, we had a lavish meal. While eating, I put my phone aside. Suddenly, notification messages kept pouring in. My mother looked at me suspiciously. Why do you have so many messages every day? Are you falling in love too early? Of course not, I immediately replied. But thinking of Xinghe, the corners of my mouth unconsciously curved upwards. My heart told me, perhaps it won't be long now. While thinking, I picked up my phone, and in the very next second, the smile on my lips vanished. Yuan, she had finally posted that picture in the class group chat. Everyone started whispering animatedly. The person in the picture was me. I was grappling with a girl, in a posture as if fighting. Many people around were trying to pull me away. But the worst part was that my pants were torn on one side, revealing my legs full of scars. Long, winding scars, like earthworms, clung tightly to my skin. When I was in 7th grade, I was caught in a fire. That day, I went shopping with my mother and happened to meet her long-unseen younger sister. My mother gave me some change and went for a walk with her, leaving me to play for a while. Because an exam was approaching, I used the money to buy a cake at a famous dessert shop, then went to a nearby bookstore to look for study materials. Just then, a loud explosion rang out. Later, my mother told me it was because the gas cylinder of the pancake stall next to the bookstore had exploded. I was standing nearby. In an instant, everything went black before my eyes. When I woke up, I was roused by someone. At that time, besides me, there were 2 other people, a boy and a girl, also students like me. Instead of abandoning me, they tried to wake me up. But the fire had already begun to spread rapidly, engulfing the bookshelves around us. We huddled together, crawling on the smoke-filled floor, trying to find a way out. Just then, a burning bookshelf behind us suddenly collapsed, crashing directly onto my leg. Eventually, the firefighters arrived and brought us out, but my legs were severely burned, and the scars, they remained there forever, unable to be erased. After the picture was released, Yuan continued to post 2 more lines of messages. Does everyone know why Nian Duong never wears her school uniform? Because her legs are too disgusting to show. Before, she dropped out of school because of a fight. It seems it was just because someone accidentally said a few words about her. Immediately, the class group chat exploded. Some were Yuan's friends, some were ordinary classmates. Oh my God, how scary. That's right, don't let her get close to us. We should stay away from her. I quietly watched each message scroll across the screen. In a daze, I seemed to hear the mocking words of the past echo in my ears. Hey, look at her legs. No wonder she never wears skirts. So disgusting, I wouldn't dare walk next to her. The first year after the burns, I didn't realize how serious my problem was. When someone asked why I always wore long pants, I even happily pulled up my pant leg to show them, telling my story. But then, everyone's eyes gradually changed. Some pitied me, some scorned me, some even showed disgust. Afterwards, I had to transfer schools for the first time in my life. From that day on, I understood one thing: these legs, I must never show them again. After transferring to the new school, whenever someone curiously asked me why I always wore long pants, I would just smile gently and politely reply, "I'm sorry, I cannot say." I never expected that very answer would make others uncomfortable. It turns out that the more a secret is hidden, the more people desire to uncover it. That saying was indeed true. They dragged me into a hidden corner where no one was supervising. They pinned me down, regardless of my struggling, their rough hands stripping off the fabric on my body, then tearing it without hesitation. For the first time in my life, I hit someone. I lunged, pinned the ringleader down, and delivered a fierce slap. But I wasn't the only one with strength. In a flash, I was flipped onto the ground, enduring merciless punches and kicks. Only when a teacher accidentally passed by did everything temporarily stop. But I clearly understood that this was just the beginning of a long nightmare. My parents were called to the office, facing strong objections from other parents. My mother was so angry she burst into tears. The principal gently suggested, if the situation continues like this, perhaps she should consider transferring schools. The parents said they had evidence of Nian hitting a classmate, and if this dragged on, it would negatively impact her, other students, the school, and even her family. Only then did I realize that the picture capturing the moment I slapped someone was deliberately taken by them. But why? Why was I the one who was hurt, and I was also the one who was punished? I transferred schools once again. This time, if anyone was curious about my legs, I would just coldly refuse to answer. I don't want to say. When I became firm, others began to fear me. I thought, finally, I can have peace. Until that day, when I inadvertently saw a classmate being forced to drink dirty water in the restroom. Looking at her, I saw my past self. Therefore, I decided to tell the teacher. I used to think she would have a different outcome than me, but no. We were exactly the same. I had exposed Yuan. Now she was tearing open my deepest wound, exposing it to the world. Seeing each message in the class group chat scroll past my eyes, I tried to remain calm. I opened the message input box but didn't know what to type. Defend myself, saying I didn't hit anyone, apologize, saying I didn't mean it and hoped for forgiveness, or just type SBB. As I was thinking, my phone vibrated continuously with responding messages. Yuan, Jingmai, did you drink toilet water? Songlin, are you tired of living? Xinghe, 3 seconds to delete immediately. Immediately after, those 3 messages were successively recalled. I saw it but still couldn't help but laugh. A moment later, Jingmai, Nian unblock me. Songlin, hurry up. That night, Jingmai and Songlin sent me messages of comfort, but what surprised me was that Xinghe remained silent. After saying goodbye to the other 2, I prepared to take a shower and sleep. Suddenly, a message flashed on my screen. Xinghe, come downstairs. I quickly ran down, my heart filled with anxiety. I wanted to see him. I wanted to know what he thought of me after seeing me in such a pathetic state. But when I stood in front of him, my breath hadn't yet stabilized and I didn't know how to start. Suddenly, I felt ashamed. Seeing the confusion in my eyes, he chuckled teasingly. After seeing this handsome guy defend you in the group today, have you started to like me? I burst out laughing. Some things didn't need to be said, I understood. As he once said, no matter what I looked like, he liked me. I hesitated, then gently smiled. I'm starting to like you. His eyes lit up. Afraid of being too emotional, I quickly added, but I have a question. Ask away. You said we met a very long time ago. When was that? I saw him frown. Xing said irritably, you really don't remember me? I was silent. I didn't remember. He sighed helplessly. Hint bookstore, try to think. In my life, only one bookstore left a deep memory. I blinked, uncertainly asking, could it be, you were that little boy? He smiled. Yes. Distant memories suddenly rushed back like invisible threads intertwining. I've been looking for you for a very long time. He slowly approached, gently embracing me, holding me tight. Finally, I found you. I tossed and turned all night. The first night confirming my relationship with Xinghe, I couldn't fall asleep. Images of him kept swirling in my mind. Every small but profound moment gradually connected, making me realize that he had recognized me from my very first day at school. Everything that happened afterwards, he had secretly arranged long ago. I rolled over and over in bed. The light from my phone screen suddenly flickered. Xing, Nian, good night. Looking at that message, my heart suddenly softened. I replied, good night, sweet dreams. After putting down my phone, I closed my eyes, secretly hoping to fall into a peaceful sleep. Half an hour passed. I opened my eyes wide, completely awake. I couldn't sleep. The next morning, I told Jingmai about my situation. She was worried because I expressed my feelings too clearly without holding back at all. I was speechless. She really saw herself as an elder in my household now. On Monday, when I arrived at school, everyone's eyes around me were strange. I could guess the reason. Before entering class, the homeroom teacher called me to the office. She placed a picture in front of me. Only then did I know that Yuan hadn't just stopped at the class group chat, she had also posted the picture on the school forum. The homeroom teacher's voice was slow. "They say you were suspended last year for fighting with a classmate. Is that true?" I looked directly into her eyes and softly asked back, "Teacher, do you believe it?" She was silent for a few seconds, then said, "I want to hear it from you." So I told her everything. Perhaps because she had heard a few things from other sources, or perhaps because I had thought things through completely over the weekend, I no longer intended to hide anything. After listening, she looked at me for a long time, then asked, "Classmate Duong, don't you trust me?" Paused, not understanding what she meant. She continued, "From that incident on campus, I knew you didn't want to wear your uniform. At that time, you could have explained it to me, but you didn't. And now, when Yuan treated you like this, you didn't tell me or any other teacher. I'm wondering if you don't trust teachers, which is why you always bear everything on your own?" I looked at her deeply, then nodded. "Yes." She wasn't angry, just softly asked, "Can you tell me why?" I slowly replied, "Teacher, do you remember classmate Ding Shen?" Ding Shen was the girl Yuan had forced to drink water in the restroom. My homeroom teacher had taught us last semester, so she definitely knew about Ding Shen. When Ding Shen's incident happened, I reported it to the homeroom teacher. But do you know why she ultimately chose to transfer schools? The teacher frowned slightly, clearly not knowing the answer. Continued, "One day on my way home from school, I accidentally heard whispers around her. 'Oh, it's her, the one who drank toilet water. Doesn't she know how to fight back? So weak, deserves to be bullied.' We were just talking, but can you imagine? Those words repeated, surrounding her every day. And that's just what I heard. What about the things we didn't see? What did Ding Shen have to endure?" I saw her expression gradually change, but I didn't stop. It doesn't have to be violence. It doesn't have to be physical injury. This is bullying too, teacher. Verbal bullying is also bullying. The teacher opened her mouth as if to say something, but in the end, she fell silent. I smiled faintly. "I know that in your eyes, there are many ways to solve this problem, but those who haven't experienced it cannot understand the pain of others. Family, environment, surrounding relationships, how we interact with the world, all these factors can form barriers that prevent the problem from being completely resolved. Report to parents. They'll come to school and make a fuss, but then what? Can mom always follow me at school? They won't know everything that happens during recess or on the way home. Report to teachers. But teachers can't control everything. What if someone blocks me on the way home? Teacher, in this quagmire, it's not that we don't want to reach out for help, but sometimes, even if we reach out, no one takes our hand." The room fell silent for a long time. Then, the homeroom teacher looked at me very firmly. "This time, I will definitely investigate thoroughly and give you a satisfactory answer." I laughed. She hesitated a little, then gently placed her hand on my shoulder. "Are you okay? Did they do anything to you?" "I'm fine." Before she could finish, I gently cut her off. "Because I've found someone willing to stand by me." Leaving the office, before my eyes were my three big figures. They leaned against the wall, trying to appear cold, but their strong presence made no one dare to approach within 3 meters. Seeing me walk out, they quickly came towards me. Zing asked worriedly, "Are you okay?" I didn't answer immediately. My eye sockets felt hot, and my heart suddenly ached slightly. After so many years lost in the quagmire, when I reached out my hand, someone finally took it. I smiled faintly, looking at them. What could possibly happen? This morning, Yuan's post had a new reply. Zing had written out the entire story, and finally he added a sentence. "From now on, anyone who dares to mention Nian Duong must ask me first because she is my girlfriend." I was speechless. Jingmai also quickly commented, "You also have to ask me because she is my best friend." Seeing this, Song Lin added, "I protect Nian Duong because she is my sister." Sister? Immediately, the three of us teamed up and gave him a beating. Afterwards, Song Lin awkwardly edited, "Because she is my brother's girlfriend, my girlfriend's best friend, and my god sister." Yuan was expelled. The school investigated and confirmed she had bullied classmates, so they made a strict decision. Hearing this news, I sighed softly. Song Lin raised an eyebrow. "If you want to laugh, just laugh out loud." I sneered. "Be careful. If you bully anyone, you'll end up the same way." He immediately looked at Jingmai with a frightened expression, then hastily clarified, "Don't listen to this guy's nonsense. I've never bullied anyone." I narrowed my eyes suspiciously. "Someone dubbed the school gang leader, yet he's a docile little rabbit." I scoffed. "Who are you trying to fool? If you've never hit anyone, how did you get this title?" He glared at me. "You just transferred here, don't talk nonsense." Then he immediately turned to Jingmai, his tone instantly becoming softer. Jingmai, don't believe his nonsense. I really have never bullied anyone. I hummed, continuing to look at Xing questioningly. Xing smiled faintly. He really doesn't hit people. It turns out that since childhood, Song Lin had studied martial arts, and his fighting skills were extremely powerful. One time, he accidentally confronted a group that specialized in bullying weaker students. In a flash, that group was completely defeated. That scene shocked the entire school, and thus, the title of school gang leader accidentally fell into his hands. After hearing this, I nodded, intending to praise him a few times, but before I could open my mouth, this guy shamelessly praised himself first. Did you hear that, little sister? Your brother is handsome and righteous. Thanks to me, so many school bullying incidents have been reduced. I smirked. Sometime later on a weekend evening, we attended a party and met someone again, Ding Shen. She stood there, beautiful and radiant, no longer showing the fear and melancholy of before. Beside her were her new friends. They chatted animatedly, their bright smiles never fading. When she saw me, she was a bit stunned. We quietly talked. Thank you for everything back then. I smiled. Are you okay? She nodded. I've met good friends. I smiled back. Before leaving, she suddenly asked, You really don't remember me? I froze. A distant memory suddenly rushed back. That year in the bookstore, I was slapped so hard I fell down. My consciousness was vague in the dizziness. A gentle voice echoed in my ear, Are you okay? My eyes involuntarily welled up with tears as I watched her receding figure. I turned back. There was Xing, Song Lin, and Jingmai. The three of them were waving, calling me. I burst out laughing and ran towards them. Our youth has its wounds, but also its gentle encounters. Whether sunny days or gloomy afternoons, someone once shed tears under the sun. People come and go in our lives, some rush past, but others are willing to stop. Youth is fleeting, and soon it will be over.